We're live, we're live, we're live. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Let me get you some links. This is Justice's waiting room. Okay. Okay. And what I want to do is I want to make sure, okay. Morning, good morning, morning. We let everybody kind of fill in. You know how I like to do it. I like to wait until there's about 10 people, okay? There's a link to live. Let's get on TikTok. Morning, good morning, good morning. Hey, make sure that you try to get 8 hours of sleep a night. Okay? Get 8 hours of sleep. Make sure that you drink water. Try to eat right. Okay? Exercise. Okay? Take care of yourself first. Okay? From there, you got to control what you can control. Okay? I want to make sure that everyone knows that I perceive this as a volatile time. Okay? It's a volatile time. Dogs. For real? Tina said we're going to Neptune, brother. I just so I have someone that's like I would call it like on my little inner circle that I'm building here. And I thought we were friends on this app. And so I was like I should add them. You know what I mean? Like I should add them back on TikTok. And TikTok got stuck where it would like follow back and I'd follow them back and then I'd be typing a message and it would pop back up. You want to follow them back? And it did that 3 or 4 times. So I just closed the app down, opened it back up, and the crazy thing, it said we still weren't friends. So then I had to go follow them back, and then after it showed that we were following each other, then it just like looped, and it was like follow, like now they're not following me, and I need to follow them, right? You understand? So it got stuck in a fucking loop. I was like, this app is trash, like like dead ass. And the thing that bothers me, you know what the thing that bothers me is this little quality of life issue that they never bothered to fix. Have you ever been trying to delete a message? Like, let's say you like copy and pasted something and you posted it in a message and it cut off the message and you were like, oh, so I gotta delete a bunch of shit. And the delete gets stuck and you're like, what kind of shit ass app is this? Like, I can't even believe it. Yeah, somebody, that's what he says. Somebody, Jilly can't pin comments. It's just, hey, Jilly, it's the app, baby. That's what it is. We got 91 people in here. Remember, every time I notice that there are 10 more people in here, we're going to say, hey, listen, I'm not selling you nothing. 8 hours of sleep a night, drink water, eat right, exercise. I don't know what I got on the back of my finger. Disregard. Okay? Take care of yourself first. Morning. The way I see it is if Red Dawn is trending on Twitter, uh, Wolverines, right? Understand that was the premise of Red Dawn is that I believe it was North Korea that invaded, and the locals, and I believe this was if it was at Washington State, they like band together. It's not a real life story, but Red Dawn was about a bunch of teenagers that band together to, and it wasn't us teenagers, adults helped too. I say that to say I'm like 41, I'm not a kid anymore, right? But yeah, um, Red Dawn's trending on Twitter, and rather than be alarmed by it, just understand. Uh, my friend Tina said, sign up for the Neptune beta program. Fill up a launch this spring. I signed up. I went to their site. Like it's gonna be really good. By the way, when I'm giving you free ad, it's because I already know. Just so everyone knows, when you see me talking about something, I don't talk shit. You get what I'm saying? Like I don't get on here and like I ordered something off a TikTok shop and it was fucking trash. You don't ever see me do that. What you'll see me do is you'll say, they're not paying me. They ain't paying me. They ought to. Someday they will. Make sure that you like my shit, follow me, and share this. Maybe they will pay me for ads one day. But like Ghetto Gastro's the shit. Bop Tarts are the shit. Like they're really fucking good. And that ain't an ad. And you know what else? And you know what else? I want something good for lunch, and I'm trying to be budget conscious about like lowering my costs for food instead of eating out or not eating at all. Remember, not fasting is not good for you. I don't care what your church says. Remember that I'm an atheist and I'm a data analyst. So you know what I care about? I care about the math. I care about what math says. Okay? Fasting is very unhealthy for you. Yeah, Tina, I wasn't going to say nothing, but I had two people come to me and tell me how they also had a poor interaction with that person on your live. So if it took two or three fucking people for you to figure that out, at least I guess you figured it out. But yeah, so when, sorry, got me derailed, Tina. But when, yeah, but when I try to use your app and basic function isn't working for me, this tells me that someone that was in charge of that is failing their QA check. Um, so I don't know anything. You got to remember one of the things that you are gonna get out of me is you're gonna be like, this dude's smart as fuck, and he says I don't know shit all the time. This is so people don't be so critical. It's like a defense mechanism. It's like I'm casting a spell, I'm telling you some shit, and then I have counter spell. I just say like, hey, I fucking know, right? I know I'm smart. I know I generally know what I'm talking about. No shit. But if I say I don't know what I'm talking about, it immediately breaks whoever's brain was about to say some critical shit. It breaks their brain, and they're like, "Oh, he knows. He doesn't know what he's talking about." Right? It's a defense mechanism. It's verbal kung fu, right? I'm disarming you. I'm making you sit back in your chair, and you're like, "Okay, so at least he said he don't know what the fuck he's talking about, right?" So if you're having problems, I'm having problems keeping up with chat. And the problem is when I do try to keep up with chat, I see some dumb shit and it completely derails me. So you have to forgive me, TikTok, with 74 people in my fucking live. I love y'all. It's impossible to keep up with. Know that when it hits, like whenever, especially whenever when the live on TikTok hits, and there's like 600 fucking people in here, know that it's impossible. It's an impossible task. And so what I was gonna ask my mods to do is copy paste like relevant comments from TikTok once the live hits. If you could post that in the YouTube, because I can look at that and I can say, oh, somebody posted a relevant comment on TikTok that one of my mods posted in my YouTube chat. Okay? So you don't have to do that. If you could say fucking no, I can't do that, it's fine. But like if somebody can make sure that I don't miss stuff. This is me trying not to miss stuff and saying, I'm telling you, there's 100 fucking people in here. Do you understand that that is basically a half full lecture? Okay, when I was at Purdue University on campus, I had lectures of up to 400. Okay, business 100. Hell yeah. Fucking hated that shit. Thank you, May. May said that's probably a good idea. You're welcome. I'm welcome for thinking that up. Um, yeah, I appreciate y'all. So, people are wondering what in the world is going on. Okay, and what I'll do is I'm gonna take sort of the conversation we've been having so far this morning and run it back. Okay, so first thing I always want to start with is the motivator. Okay, this is my morning motivation. Nope, I don't want to post that. I don't want to post that. Here. Okay. This is what I want you to see first. Okay. So if you in the comments, and if you have Twitter, okay, you can go watch the opening salvo. Okay. And then while you watch that, I'll load up the next one. Okay. Okay. I like to answer people's questions. Okay. A lot of people have been asking me, hey Jared, why did Joe Biden and Kamala Harris come rushing back to the White House? Okay. And I like to take educated guesses, right? I like to have additional information, right? And go, is that a good enough reason to come back to the White House? And understand that one of the things that I observed when I saw the motorcade, right? When I saw the motorcade with my own eyeballs, I saw it moving. And you know what I saw? They weren't going 100 miles an hour. Do you understand that in my eyes, as someone whose entire family is in law enforcement, is that I'm grading the severity of your response to an emergency based on your speed of your vehicle. And I think that that's a good judge of what level of emergency are we at, right? Like if we're in a World War III today, shit is off the chain, DEFCON fucking what, I forget how the DEFCON scale goes up or down because I'm in the moment. I think it's up. So I think DEFCON 5 is like, oh shit. I think we're going 100 mile an hour down Washington Boulevard, right? With the lights on, skipping every stoplight. Would you agree? There are certain levels to this, right? And so when I observed Kamala Harris, it was supposed to be. I don't know that for sure. I saw the video and I saw a motorcade headed to the White House, but I was told it was Kamala. Do you understand? I'm saying that I was told that was Kamala Harris, and I watched the movement, and they weren't going 100 mile an hour. They were going like let's say the speed limit was 40, they were going 50, right? They're probably going like 60, right? But they weren't flying. And I'm just saying, like, okay, so now you got to think about what sort of event would you cut your holiday off for? And for the record, a lot of people are saying it was for Kamala Harris to be the tie-breaking vote for the bill or whatever. No, no. Okay, I'm gonna get mad. The U.S. Capitol is 2 miles from the White House. So the motorcade's not going to the White House and then the U.S. Capitol so you could cast a tiebreaker vote. We ain't doing all that shit. You understand? That's too many POIs in a single motorcade. All kind of shit can go crazy. We're not doing that. Okay? So when a motorcade goes to the White House late on a Friday night and people are cutting off their holidays, you got to be reasonable based on the response, based on how fast those vehicles were going. Okay? Ghostface said she went to read that report, son. She went to get her hands back on it. I'm sure she went to get a briefing from Joe Biden on, because remember, one of the things I want to point out today, just so everyone knows, I want to make sure everyone knows, Executive Order 13848, that report that was due yesterday, the vice president does not get a copy. Do you under? They're not listed. I looked at it multiple times. Go look at Executive Order 13848. Your boy did his fucking homework. Okay? She does not get a fucking copy. So understand that when someone posts in my TikTok, I just happened to see it, where they said, "Oh, she went back to read that report, son." You goddamn right. But also, but also, we have to go on the news, brother. We got to talk about what really happened. Okay? So here's what happened that would constitute going back to the White House. I posted it as a comment. Okay? Mika Rose says, "What's the executive order for?" Executive Order 13848. Here, let me get you a link. I'm going to post it, okay? I'm going to give you the Reddit link first because the Reddit link is convenient. It has both links on it on the same page, and that's really convenient. You know, you might want to bookmark that, okay? Now, what I'm going to ask you to do is read, okay? And the hardest thing to get adults to do is read. So what I would first ask you to do is read and understand Executive Order 13848. Okay? And for the record, that's going to take some time. Okay? It's not easy. There's 91 people in here. Good morning. I hope that you got 8 hours of sleep last night. Make sure that you drink water, make sure that you eat right and exercise, and that you take care of yourself, and that you control what you can control. You understand? Chin up. Okay? So first thing I would ask you to do, good morning, Cody, is read Executive Order 13848. Okay? And I can sort of try to summarize it with some bullet points, but I don't like to do that really because I feel like human beings have a tendency to, I want to say, is it ameliorate? Is that the word I want to use right now? Fucking yes. So we're all gonna learn a goddamn word today because Jared's brain is shitting out fucking gasoline. Okay. Here's ameliorate. Okay. Just so everyone learned a word today. Remember, I'm going to school to be a teacher. Okay. Ameliorate is to make something bad better, right? Oh my gosh. Here's what we're not doing. We're not even talking about political candidates right now. Right? Like, so don't come in my chat spatting that MAGA shit. What the fuck are you talking about? Okay? I don't know why it blocked that. Hold on, Julie. Ain't nobody saying nothing about politics, man. Ain't nobody going one way or another. I'm literally reading an executive order that Donald Trump signed into effect. Okay? So understand that a bunch of things are about to happen in front of us. So understand you have all, good morning, Jules. You have all the things behind you that you already have happened. And there's tons of stuff that's already happened that we don't all know yet. Okay, so we have to start there. And you got to start there every day. You know what you know, and you got to know what you don't know. You got to know you don't know enough. I wake up every day and I know I don't know enough. Okay? So if we start every day knowing I don't know enough, that means we ought to be looking for some shit. Like we better be looking for some things. So what I had posted is Executive Order 13848, and this is actually UCSB, so University of Cal at Santa Barbara. Okay, that link, that ucsb.edu, that lets you know that is a high quality link and you can trust the information in it. And if you have any questions about any of the sources I use to back up the statements that I make and the content that I show you, you can understand that I care very much about the quality of the information and the quality. Hell yeah, it's shoddy. Let's go. Okay. So listen, Section 1 of Article of Executive Order 13848 says not later than 45 days after the conclusion of a United States election. Okay, so let's stop here. And I know, hey, just so you know, I have PTSD. I'm bipolar. I got ADHD. I am all fucked up, and I'm not on any medication. So I'm all over the place. You have to appreciate it about me that this is what happens when your brain's all fucked up. Savvy? So we're going to stop after the first, like, before the first comma. Okay? Because people are asking. I like to answer questions that I've seen a whole bunch of times. Okay? Yes, Trump hates vets. Thank you. Not later than 45 days after the conclusion of a United States election. Okay? So people have been asking 45 days from what conclusion? Like, what is the conclusion of the election? Okay? I believe that it's 45 days from November 5th. In the past, you can just look in the past and see that our time frames match up, is what I'm saying. Okay? I want to make sure that I'm saying it and you're like, "Oh, that yeah, okay, I'm glad you answered that question," cuz a lot of people have been asking like 45 days from what? From November 5th. Okay? That means, okay? That mean and hey, Dakota, I do it before I start talking about it. Right? Here's the source. Now I'll break it down for you, okay? 45 days. That was fucking yesterday. Okay? Brasher said the DNI press release came out November 4th and it stated they knew there was a problem. Okay? So yesterday, the Director of National Intelligence, in consultation with the heads of any other appropriate executive departments and agencies, shall conduct an assessment of any information indicating that a foreign government or any person acting as an agent or of or on behalf of a foreign government has acted with the intent or purpose of interfering in that election. So let's just identify in the comment section the names of some people you think might fit that profile. Does anybody want to take a guess in the class of who might meet that profile? I'll read it again. Shall conduct an assessment of any information indicating that a foreign government, any person acting as an agent of or on behalf of a foreign government, has acted with the intent or purpose of interfering in that election. Okay? 193 people on our live. Okay? And 12 people on YouTube. Good morning. We are co-streaming live on TikTok as long as they'll have us and as long as this stupid shit ass app works. This app is garbage. Garbage. Hot fucking garbage. And isn't it, and for the record, best fucking community. Love you the fucking to death. To death. Like, I've never seen the growth like I have on social media like it has on TikTok. I don't buy shit. I haven't paid no money. I'm not like suckling the tea. I don't have a clearance. It's not like I'm telling y'all shit that is not public fucking information. Okay? So you got to make sure that you follow me. Okay? So here I want to post this message. This is why I was late this morning. In case you guys wondered like why were you late? This is why I was late. Okay? I was making this little guy. Okay? It's a bunch of data and you're going to have to break it down and make it mean something for yourself. Okay? But what it is, it's my name and shit. It's my name, where to find me, my YouTube link, my TikTok link. So you can just like copy and paste all that shit. And then you know my name. My name is Jared Malat. You know that I don't have fucking LinkedIn. I got rid of that shit. Okay? If you look for me on Facebook, guess what? My photo's blacked out and I don't hardly post nothing on Facebook. Fuck Mark Zuckerberg. I might use fake Facebook Messenger a little bit. That's about it. Okay? I only use Blue Sky and YouTube and TikTok. And I'm on Reddit. So if you're on Reddit and you ever see Likely Alien and you're like, damn, that shit was tough. That's your boy. Like that shit. Comment on that shit. And hey, you want to help me grow? You want to help this live grow? You want to help this podcast grow? Y'all got to start posting my content on YouTube. You got to, or not on YouTube. Sorry, I can't re-record it. You got to post my content on Reddit. You have to take it upon yourselves. I can't guide you anymore than I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it because it's self-promotion, and I fucking hate that shit. People have been asking me, how can I help you? Y'all want to help? Y'all want to help so bad? Go to fucking Reddit. There's a subreddit called Something Is Wrong 2024. It is the only subreddit I have found where they don't actively suppress information, where you can see all of the things that we've been talking about on my podcast live. I get most of my shit there. And I talk shit about Twitter. Okay, I had to go back to Twitter because the thing about Twitter, the reason that Elon Musk bought Twitter, and it sucks that he broke Twitter because Twitter was fucking great. One of the reasons that Twitter's so good is because you get the news right now. You know what it is? And like I live in Indiana where I have Twitter and most people don't. So like I know about the news before everyone else does. A week sometimes, 2 weeks, even a month. Shit will be like old news to me, and by the time it comes back around, right? And you find someone on Facebook that's talking about the same shit. For the record, Twitter and Facebook is like a month apart. That's what it felt like to me. Okay? So TikTok feels pretty good. I like the community. I love you guys. There's almost 200 people in here. It's fucking crazy for me just sitting here bullshitting. Okay? I love y'all. Take care of yourselves. But yeah, first thing we want to talk about, Executive Order 13848. Okay? Now let's talk about what this assessment will identify, which is the second half of the first paragraph of the order. Okay? Second half of the first paragraph of the order says, this assessment shall identify to the maximum extent ascertainable. So for the record, if you ever wanted like a few words, love you too. If you ever wanted a few words that are hilarious when you just say them randomly, you're just like peeing in the toilet and you're like, maximum extent ascertainable. Do y'all understand what that means when we're talking about an assessment conducted by multiple agencies? Like the FBI, CIA, NSA, CISA, DSIC, like all these agencies that Donald Trump wants to get rid of and defund. To the maximum extent ascertainable. Hey, just so y'all know, if you wanted to know that Donald Trump didn't write this shit, here's your sign. I want to know if Donald Trump can describe the word ascertainable and use it in a sentence. I think without even looking up the definition of ascertainable, I believe it would be coming into the possession of. Is that what like the not maximum extent ascertainable, just the word. I think it means like coming into the possession of, right? Capable of being perceived, of ascertainable. Now, hey, I caught myself as soon as I was like, Donald Trump can't define fucking ascertainable. I was like, shit, can I define ascertainable without looking it up? Ascertainable, capable of being understood. Heather, that's cheating. You can't use the root word in a sentence and use that as a definition. Got, gotten, found. Thanks, inspired. So, all right. The nature of any foreign interference and any methods employed to execute it, the persons involved, and the foreign government or governments that authorized, directed, or sponsored or supported it. So for the record, their asses are grass. Okay. The Director of National Intelligence shall deliver this assessment and appropriate supporting information. So one of the things you got to understand. Oh, dogs in the background starting to whine. I think my wife probably left. Okay, you hear my dogs howling. So one of the things I gotta lay on you is it says and appropriate supporting information to the president. So I think part of the delay between the information being received and then redisseminated is the director of national intelligence has to add some stuff. Okay, so the way I perceive this is like your report was due yesterday, but I've got to attach supporting documentation. She receives the report, she perceives the report, and then you know what I mean. Then she's got to break that down, and she's got to come away with something that she got to add to this report. And then, hey, the Director of National Intelligence shall deliver this assessment and appropriate supporting information. So everybody's all crazy about timeframes, right? Everybody needs instant gratification. Remember, I've tried to tell y'all the hands of justice, like, they move slowly but swiftly. You understand? Um it's not one of the things that I've learned in my life is that justice doesn't look, taste, feel, smell. It just remember I keep saying this, Lady Liberty is not justice. Like, do you understand? Like the green lady on Ellis Island, that's not justice. And everybody expects, right? If that's justice, and she's this big, you know what I'm saying? Like, she really come with some force all the time. Everything she hits hard, like, crumbles, right? Yes, but that's not justice. Okay. And it's also not the scales. I don't think the scales are a good meter of justice. It's what has historically worked, but I think money is such a deal breaker in the scales of justice that it can't be the scales. In fact, it has to be the snake that eats the money that's tipping the scales. Like, I know that's a fucking convoluted way to talk about it, but anyway. So, the director of national intelligence. Okay. Here's who gets it. Right there. End of the first paragraph. Just so you know, your homeboy was right, and I'm fucking showing you in super slow motion that I was right. The entire reason we're on this document is because I said the vice president don't get a copy. And so there's a delay between all these people receiving it and her being able to see it. Savvy? So the so all the people that hung on that whole time, are you now fulfilled? There's like 160 people in here. There's like 175 people watching me right now. Are you fulfilled? Was the last like 5 minutes worth it? Where we like went on this trip just so I could be like, and you know I'm right, right? Because it says to the president, the Secretary of State, the Secretary of Treasury, the Secretary of Defense, the Attorney General, and the Secretary of Homeland Security. Okay? So all those people get a copy. Okay? And then it says within 45 days of receiving the assessment and information described in Section 1A of this order. So understand, we are in Part B. So for everyone out there, hey, that you're like, hey man, what's this Executive Order 13848? Welcome to the Resistance. We're honored that you chose to join us. I am one of the last of the Jedi. We are in Part B of Executive Order 13848. So I'm 6'4", 300 pounds. I eat people like you for breakfast. What are you talking about? Marine Corps Infantry, 2nd Battalion, 2nd Marines Weapons Company. 2-2 is the most combat deployed unit in Marine Corps history. You are a cockroach to me. Your entire bloodline. We're in Section B, which says, within 45 days of receiving the assessment and information described in Section 1A of this order, the Attorney General and the Secretary of Homeland Security, in consultation with the heads of any other appropriate agencies and, as appropriate, state and local officials, shall deliver to the President, the Secretary of State, the Secretary of Treasury, and the Secretary of Defense a report evaluating, with respect to the United States election that is subject of the assessment described in Section 1A. Okay? And then it tells you all the things that go in the report. Okay? All the things that go in the report are it's actually two things. Sorry. Okay? The extent to which any foreign interference at targeted election infrastructure materially affected the security or integrity of that infrastructure, the tabulation of votes, or the timely transmission of election results. So we know that happened. Okay? And then if any foreign interference involved activities targeting the infrastructure of or pertaining to a political organization, a campaign, or candidate, the extent to which such activities materially affected the security or integrity of that infrastructure, including by unauthorized access to, disclosure, or threatened disclosure of, or alteration or falsification of information or data, and I'm pretty sure we know that happened too. Katie Kate says, confused that they actually submitted, or are you reading what could happen if they do? No, honey, we're in Part B now. So what's happening now is all those relevant agencies have now all traded homework, right, that they had to turn in to the director of the Department of National Intelligence yesterday. Okay? Now they're all looking at each other's work and cross-referencing anything, corroborating information so that they can deliver this report within 45 days, that we are now in day 1. So we got another 75 days essentially to go. Okay? Before this election gets wrapped up. Okay? So if you I mean, tell me I'm wrong. Somebody say no, that's not right. But there's another 45-day period here that we're in day 1 of, okay? And then there's a 30-day period after that. Okay? And remember, everybody's upset because there's not enough public information, and I end up being kind of the arbiter of information and shit. Nina says, when will it get certified? March. Sometime after a new election is what I'm guessing. A lot of people are asking me, what do I think is going to happen? And if you've been watching my content, I've been saying it this whole time. There were, remember there were rumors of 80 bomb threats on election day? Do you remember that? At majority black polling places, and they had to like shut them down and evacuate them. Do you remember that? It was actually 217. It was nationwide, and it wasn't just majority black polling places. It actually kind of makes me upset because I'm a white person that lives in the city. There were actually 217 bomb threats called in on election day, and that constitutes election interference. And that alone is reason enough to throw out the results of the election and conduct a new election. Okay? So understand that you need to tap the screen. Every time I say something that you're like, I agree with that, as much as I love when you comment, I agree with you and hearts and shit, I love it. Tap the screen. Make sure you uh, follow me here on TikTok. Okay. Okay. Make sure that you drink water. Make sure you get 8 hours of sleep. Make sure you eat right and exercise. Control what you can control. Okay. Time frames are what are changing. Time frames are changing. Okay. Time frames are changing. Now, heads of all. I'm gonna read stuff fast. Not necessarily. Me too. Okay, so that comment said worried about violence for maggots. That's part of the reason I'm here. Okay, one of the pathways from being deprogrammed as a MAGA is latching on to another conspiracy theory. So follow me. One of the things that I found when I was researching brainwashing and deprogramming is that when you're deprogramming someone, there's a third component. I'm pretty sure I can be wrong, and somebody could say like, "That's you. Where the fuck did you read that?" Okay, but I read when you're deprogramming someone, you got to isolate them. You got to make them feel the weight of their decisions, right? And think about like all the things that have happened since election night. Kevin Baker, 6307, as I block you, he says most of the violence has been from the left. Make that make sense. I'm the leader of Antifa and I am nonviolent. I don't own a firearm. I am Antifa. I'm anti-fascist. You do understand fascism is bad, right? It's not like optional. Like you get to just like decide like, ah, fascism's cool. You see an awful lot of people bending the knee, right? But I'm anti-fascist. I actually don't like those people. It's a wild way to live, I know. But rather than try to play politics, I just block them. I don't want you to have a negative impact on my vibe. There's almost 200 people in here. Why would you want to come in here and ruin the vibe, right? It's nice, it's quiet. I'm not playing music. I'm not distracting you. I'm not trying to sell you anything, right? Why would you want to fuck the vibe up? Oh, is it because you're being isolated? You're being made to feel the weight of your decisions? But the pathway out of being a Trumper is probably through another conspiracy theorist. So right now, this election is another conspiracy theory that they can latch onto. And they'll see that, dude, I'm a socialist. I'm on the opposite end of the political spectrum from most people. And people are flagging me for election integrity, saying that I'm a socialist, that I just want everybody to have universal health care, education, income, and housing. Did you know that a study came out? I got the math wrong, so I got to go back and say it right, okay? Um, half of all marriages end in divorce. No, yeah, half of all marriages, and I think the divorce rate's 50%. Let me make sure I got this right. Yeah. It's 50%. Okay, 50% of marriages end in divorce. Did you know that 66%, right? 66% of the half of marriages that end in divorce, 2/3 of those are because of medical debt. Okay? 2/3 of all divorces in the United States are due to medical debt. Okay? And so I think marriage says my marriage is 100% divorce. Okay? So if 2/3 of all marriages, the half of all marriages that end in divorce, 2/3 of those are because of medical debt. And I didn't understand because I can't empathize with that. Okay, because yeah, it's because of debt, money related issues, but it can be broken down further, and it's mostly medical debt. Okay, when you look at what sort of debt can people not get out from under, it's medical debt and student loans and a mortgage, right? So the three most common types of debt. Okay, so when you know that most of the time when people get a divorce, it's not because they don't love each other anymore. That often divorce is a form of love. We love someone so much that you don't want to burden them with your medical debt. So think about all the older couples that you see that are together and they don't wear their wedding bands anymore. That's probably why. Because they had to get legally divorced so that when the one that's sick dies, it doesn't burden the one that survives. If that doesn't instantly turn you into a socialist hardcore where you're like, no one should ever have to go through that, that's fucking horrible, Jared. Yeah? Do you know how many times that's happened over the course of American history? Fucking lot. Fucking lot. And I'm not willing to concede anything other than universal health care. And understand what universal health care looks like. Do you understand what universal health care looks like? The same healthcare companies that charge you $300 to $600 or more per person a month for healthcare in those 33 countries that have universal healthcare, they still offer healthcare plans. They look an awful lot like the Medicare Medicaid plans that you can get in the United States that are Medicare Advantage dual special needs plans. How do I know that? Because I sold them. I sold healthcare plans in the United States from United Healthcare, Humana, Anthem Blue Cross Blue Shield, all of them. That was why that was a badass job. By the way, it was a badass job. For the record, it was a badass job. Because I didn't work for any of them, and we just figure out who's going to charge you the least. Okay? But what we find is that people that are on Medicare and Medicaid, their healthcare has no monthly cost. Their copays are all nothing. They have no maximum out of pocket. Their medicine costs nothing. Their surgery costs nothing. They could even get rides to and from appointments in the hospital. Hell, there are even healthcare plans that'll give you money for food and groceries. And the government pays whatever the Medicare amount is. When you have a dual special needs plan, the government subsidizes your healthcare when you can't pay for it. So what if everyone just said, I'm not paying for that shit anymore, and you disenroll from your fucking healthcare and said, give me the fucking plan that costs nothing? What if everybody just stopped working, period? Stop working, wait until you no longer have an income, apply for fucking Medicare and Medicaid, and force that system to change by a mass enrollment where everyone got out. I'm disabled. I got tinnitus. My back aches. You know what I'm saying? My butt hurts. You know, whatever. I want disability. I want Medicare. I want Medicaid, and make everybody do it. Once there's a mass of people that realize the only way we're ever going to get socialized healthcare is to force it upon it. Is everybody get disabled, get into Medicare, Medicaid, get into those healthcare plans that are nothing. Yep, That's your only way. Yep. And the thing about Blondie, the thing about it is, with Medicare and Medicaid, and you retire, you understand that you got to make under a certain amount of money to qualify for Medicaid, and those Medicare Medicaid plans that, and it's like $1,600 fucking dollars, yo. Like I'm exaggerating. Yeah, Blondie said under two. Hey, I said 1,600. Like under people that make like less than minimum wage a month are the people that qualify. So think about that. We don't have social health care in the United States unless you're in dire needs. So why not just give it to everyone, right? When 99% of people can't afford it the way it works now, okay? And then I also think you shouldn't have to go in debt and pay student loans if you want to go to school. Jay Westy said no dentist will take Medicare. They will if there's not another option. If it's socialized healthcare, or you don't work with it at all, you're a cash only operation, you're gonna go out of fucking business. People will just go where they'll take your insurance and do an emergency surgery. I understand that emergency dental surgery is covered by your healthcare. Emergency surgery is covered by your healthcare, and that includes dental. Don't ever let them not approve that shit. I worked in that industry for fucking years on no complaints. You gotta understand, I'm telling people that emergency surgery is covered, and that includes dental. If it's an emergency. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I want to read part F because people need to know. In addition to the 45 days, actually, let me finish the socialist thing. So you're talking about I don't want you to have student loans. I don't want you to pay for your health care. I also don't want you to pay for a mortgage. Okay? One of the things we will never do is listen to someone who tells me not to talk about something. Don't police my content. Naysayers, people who talk down your ideals, are infiltrators, spies, people that will turn you in and tell on you. So, in addition to not wanting you to have to divorce your spouse because of medical debt or go broke trying to pay your student loans, I also helped people with their student loans. It was fucking heartbreaking. I worked for Sallie Mae. It was awful. I got fired. I got fired for trying to talk down someone that was threatening to on my phone. I guess what I got fired for. My boss asked me when she went to discipline me. You know what she said? Where did you get your medical degree? And I was like, "What?" And she said, Where'd you get your medical degree?" And I said, "I don't have a medical degree." And then she says, "Who are you to tell someone to not themselves?" I think it's just like basic shit, right? This is basic shit. Okay? But student loans is a racket you can't get out from under it. It's part of the reason I'm getting a data analytics degree from Purdue and then going into teaching, because it qualifies for it pays a low enough amount of money that I'd pay minimum payments. You do it for 10 years and they discharge your student loans. So I don't know if people knew that, but if you became a teacher or a nurse for a career after you get a 4-year degree, they'll forgive your student loans if you do that for a decade. There's other jobs too. So I want to make sure that we finished our subjects before we move on. We're talking about socialism. So I also think that the cost of living is something that is impossible to keep up with. The rising cost of housing, okay? It's impossible to keep up with. And I think that your rent should either be fixed based on like the size of your house, or you shouldn't have to pay it at all. let's say you got like a big ass family and a big ass house. Imagine how much farther that whole family would get if they didn't break their back trying to pay the mortgage, right? So I don't think you should have to pay it. I don't think you should have to pay rent. I don't think you should have to pay a mortgage. I think that you should have to qualify for a place to live based on like not being a violent threat to the people around you. I think the people that are a violent threat should be like in prison and shit. You should fucking your justice system should work correctly. I know. It sounds fucking bananas to say that, right? So, again, socialism is I want you to have universal health care, education, housing, and the last part is income. Okay? So, socialism and income means that the rising cost of living is something that you can't keep up with because of inflation. And a solution to that, and there are going to be people that are going to poo poo the universal income. But no, they've already done a study multiple times and they've reproduced the results from other countries to the United States. For example, most recently in Denver, Colorado, they gave 200 families $500 a month, $500 a week for 2 years. And do you know what they saw that was a statistical outlier to their community with an extra 2 grand a month for your family? Like a 40% increase in education in the household, better grades out of the kids, families ate better, improvements were made to the home, projects were started in the home that built community in their neighborhoods. And they started building gardens and putting solar panels up. Okay, so socialism makes you be more socialist. Is that fucking crazy? And everybody's all alone, right? Everybody like they sit in their house and they're worried to death that somebody's going to hurt me, right? But what if you lived in a society where you knew that you needed to rely on your neighbor and your justice system actually functioned and you didn't have to worry about student loans or a mortgage or debt or medical debt and the government gave you a couple $1,000s a month just to keep the lights on. Just to keep a little coin in your pocket in case something happens. And that's in addition to the money that you're able to make yourself. And here's what they learned. Pete said, where does $500 a week came from? It was a provision in a local ordinance, and it cost people about $1,000 in that zip code on their taxes. Break that down by like 12 months, and it was like it costs nothing. Okay? People paid like, do the math, less than $10 or less than $100 a month in taxes. It's nothing. When you get paid every 2 weeks, and we're talking about 100, it's like $50 a paycheck. It pays for your fucking right. That's a great deal. Okay. So and understand. Uh-oh. Okay. I like to make sure we talk about that shit. All right. So now that we know that we're in part B, but that would be implying that there is a healthcare system free of problems, and therefore the argument is moot. See, when you say socialized healthcare is the best solution, and someone says Canada's healthcare system sucks, it's not relevant. Yeah, I wait until it pops up on my screen up here in the upper right corner. It will show me that I have a restriction up here, and when it pops up there, that's when we move. Okay, so we still got 100 people in here. We're doing fine. I'm not worried about. Remember, it's not all about how big the audience is. You can't always be concerned about that. But yeah, once I actually see a restriction up here, we're gonna reboot the live. Okay, but other than that, it's like a verbal warning as opposed to like an actual. There's like verbal warning. They're booting you off your live. Okay, but yeah. So right now we're in the second 45 days, okay? So we're on day 1 of the second 45 days. And then part F here says not later than 30 days following the date of this order, the Secretary of State, the Secretary of Treasury, the Attorney General, the Secretary of Homeland Security, and the Director of National Intelligence shall develop a framework for the process that will be used to carry out their respective responsibilities pursuant to this order. The framework, which may be classified in whole or in part, and keep in mind, I haven't seen this part, just so everyone knows, because people are going to ask, okay? So I know for a lot of people, they're like, man, why don't you talk about this thing? Who does the booting? People that come into my live and disagree with my politics or something that I've said and report me. We try to block people that leave like stupid messages so that we don't all have to suffer from, a single person's stupidity. But sometimes, someone will sit in here that is not on our team and just report until they say something that gets them banned, and then I think there's a trigger. Okay? So yeah. This is the first time this little phrase is in this order. Because I'm going to copy it. I'm going to Control F and fucking search. And it only shows up one time. So people ask me, is the report that was due yesterday, is that shit classified at all or in part? And I would argue, because of this shit right here. So for the record, for everybody whose mind is fucking blown right now, because I'm talking about some shit you have never fucking heard me say at all ever, that in this document, this phrase, I'm gonna give it to you right there. That phrase only shows up one time. Okay, so everybody's gonna ask, and keep in mind how many videos you're gonna see of people being like, "Oh, we'll never see that report that was turned in yesterday. We'll never see that." Oh, really? Because I want you to search that Executive Order 13848. Okay. 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 For that. Okay. Okay. Search for that. Okay, which may be classified in whole or in part. So the report that was due yesterday from all those agencies to the Director of National Intelligence, the President, and all them other secretaries, that phrase, which may be classified in whole or in part, does not appear. So that leads me to believe, based on the existence, because I know people are going to ask, so we're going to go over it slow. No, I don't expect that they will keep the report that all them agencies submitted to the DNI and all them people classified in whole or in part. Why? Because this phrase doesn't show up till right here, which is after the 42nd 45-day period that we're in right now. Okay? So right now we're in day 1 of the second set of 45 days. And then after that, there's another 30 days, okay, in which the framework shall focus on ensuring that agencies fulfill their responsibilities pursuant to this order in a manner that maintains holy shit, there's no way Donald Trump wrote this. Methodological consistency. Say that 3 times fast. Methodological consistency. I would dare Donald Trump to try to say that shit without him spinning around like a top. He ain't never fucking get saying that fucking little phrase. I would dare him to read this shit. Sir, can you read Executive Order 13848 for me? What? All right. protects law enforcement or other sensitive information and intelligence sources and methods, maintains an appropriate separation between intelligence functions and policy and legal judgments, ensures that efforts to protect electoral processes and institutions are insulated from political bias, and respects the principles of free speech and open debate. Okay? So, that again, I'm saying the report due yesterday, I do not expect will be classified or partially classified. The report that we are in the second 45 days, that report not classified on whole or in part. But the last report, the last 30 days, that report could be fucking classified. So I'm just putting everyone on notice so that people don't fucking leave a bunch of dumbass comments. I mean, that would be hilarious if everybody's comment was like, "Hey, is any of this classified?" Like, you fucks. Okay? So for all of you, like, wait a minute, I don't get it. It's just like, just letting you know, 45 days as of yesterday, and that shit started another 45-day period. Neither of those reports that are as a result of either sets of 45 days do I expect will be classified. That should be posted on the DNI website. Okay? They'll tell you exactly what happened. They're going to tell you. And then I'm trying to figure out because people are always like, yeah, okay. Okay, so this section 11 is interesting to me. Okay, so I'm going to read this to you. Farther down in the Executive Order 13848 is section 11, and I'm going to read it so that you'll get it. The Secretary of the Treasury, in consultation with the Attorney General and the Secretary of State, is hereby authorized to take such actions, including the promulgation of rules and regulations. You want to know how I know Donald Trump ain't write this shit? Promulgation? Promulgation. Donald, can you use promulgation in a sentence? I'm going to Google it and I'm going to play dumb. Promulgation means like the complete following or something. But we're going to look it up. Okay. Promulgation is the formal proclamation or the declaration that a new statutory or administrative law is enacted after its final approval. Okay. Promulgation. My ass, Don. Okay. Promulgation. In the notes. I put it in the chat so you can see it. Okay. Keep in mind, this is, you see this up here up in the left-hand corner where it says learn. If you're ever wondering like why the fuck is he teaching me words and shit, bitch, you're in a learn live. You understand? It's like in the upper left-hand corner. Learn. I'm gonna learn your ass. Okay? So that sentence says, authorized to take such actions, including the promulgation of rules and regulations, and to employ all powers granted to the President by IEEPA as may be necessary to carry out the purposes of this order. The Secretary of the Treasury may redelegate any of these functions to other officers within the Department of the Treasury consistent with applicable law. All agencies of the United States government are hereby directed to take all appropriate measures within their authority to carry out the provisions of this order. Okay? Okay? I think that might be irrelevant. Okay? So I'm going to copy and paste Section 11 of Executive Order 13848. I am not a lawyer. Okay? I can't even do it. So don't even worry about it. Can't even copy and paste it. Okay? But down there on that page, okay? And keep in mind, Donald Trump did this. Donald Trump did this. Yeah. And you know why Donald Trump did this? Because he thought he was going to catch Joe Biden in 2020. Okay? So Donald Trump made this rule up thinking that he was going to get all his cronies to be the heads of all those agencies, and then he was going to push all those agencies and force them to follow his worldview, where he was like very critical of the Biden family. Okay? And the thing about it is that he did that. He got the report. You can go find the report from 2021, 2020. Didn't it get released the day after or some shit? And it said there was no but yeah, he didn't write that shit. But he passed it trying to get Joe Biden in it. And Joe Biden read it and had his lawyers read it, and they were like, "Hey man, that's actually a good rule. That's a good rule. You should re-sign that shit." Now, here's what I want to know, okay? We got to figure out what the IEEPA is, okay? So let's go figure out what the IEEPA is. Huh. Well, that was a very relevant document, Jared. I cannot believe that you shared that live on a podcast and how goddamn relevant that information is, because you ought to go look at this little link that I just put in the chat. Damn. What is the IEEPA, you asked? Anyone? Bueller? How about International Emergency Economic Powers Act? Anybody have that on their fucking bingo card? No, nobody saw this coming. Everybody's sitting there slack-jawed as fuck. What did you just fucking say? So let's see. What can we find in the IEEPA? The International Emergency Economic Powers Act. War and National Defense. Wait a minute. Hold on. What? Let's see. I wonder what's in this act. Let's see. Section 11, my dear, IEEPA, and then we Googled IEEPA, and then we went to this U.S. Code document, and we found out that part of the powers bestowed upon the president as a result of Executive Order 13848 is that he gets to use IEEPA to help him. Yeah, isn't that fun? So what we're doing is this is called slow rolling. So if you've never played poker and had someone have the nuts, the absolute nuts, and they slow played that shit on you, and you were like, are they mentally handicapped? Can he not read? Oh, I can read. I've been here before. I've been on this page. I got a fucking bookmarked upper right hand corner. Pachow. I've been here before. I'm just rolling down through here, and what the fuck does this thing do? What does this thing do? Let's see. Let's see what this thing does. Let's see election. Section 14. Section 2. Part 1A. That's the first time we see it. Second. Democratic elections. What happened here? Let's summarize. Summarize the IEPA. So, guess what it does? To deal with threats to national security, foreign policy, or the economy of the United States, the International Emergency Economic Powers Act grants the President authority to institute regulations covering commercial and financial transactions with other countries if a national emergency is declared. Okay. What else does it do? Oh, what about Russia? Is Russia in this? Russia's in it 42 times. That's so fucking weird. Who knew? Huh. Huh. Executive Order 14071, 50 U.S.C. 1701, relating to prohibiting new investment in certain services to the Russian Federation in response to continued Russian Federation aggression as amended on line D of Part 2. 14068, relating to prohibition to certain imports, exports, and investment with respect to continued Russian Federation aggression as amended. Executive Order 14024, relating to blocking property with respect to specific harmful foreign activities of the government of the Russian Federation. Oh shit. Huh, what the fuck do you know? What else do we got? Yeah, but what we're looking for is what's the ringer? Like, what are we should be looking for in this document? Sorry, I had a bug. It's my bad. And I was just making an educated guess, being like, I wonder if it has anything to do with Russia. Russia's in this document 42 fucking times. So, yeah. It just means further sanctions for them. Okay? So there, we went through Executive Order 13848 today. Okay? How long we been going? Hour and 20. And then, again, I would have you look at this right here. Okay? This is prosecuting election crimes. Familiarize yourself with this. Okay? Somebody said Trump knows of IEPA uses to ban TikTok. Ryan said page 9. Page 9 of what? Of this document? Spoken about Paragon Systems at all? No. Were you talking about? So I'm listening to, obviously, Ryan. Were you talking about page 9 of this prosecution of election offenses? Is that what you were telling me to look at? Because it says, because the federal prosecutor's function in the area of election fraud is not primarily preventative, any criminal investigation by the department must be conducted in a way that minimizes the likelihood that the investigation itself may become a factor in the election. So, in case you wondered, why so quiet? You head asses. Why aren't they just shouting it from the fucking rooftops? Go look at the National Archives. How come all of the states haven't certified their election results? Why do they tell all the electors not to leave the country until the end of January? I'm just being honest. I'm just pointing out some shit. My theory is, you know, my theory. This is for entertainment purposes only. I do not have a clearance. I am not on active duty. I'm not COIN. I'm not fucking Intel. I'm not InfoSec. I'm not NatSec. I just happen to have been in the fucking Marine Corps, worked in security a long time, like fucking read Grisham as a little kid, like can fucking build Legos real fast, son. I think that Kamala Harris went to Hawaii. Okay. Kamala Harris went to Hawaii to meet with Army Cyber Command, along with the NSA, the DSIC, CISA, whoever the fuck else is out there, to figure out how they could make the military, which is supposed to be nonpartisan and also our most powerful institution, in charge of elections. Okay? So that's just my guess. I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm probably fucking wrong. But if anybody has enough people, has enough power, could actually run a fair election and can be trusted to not like fuck us in the army. Okay? Gotta give army something to do. Ooh, that was a low shot across the bow, kids. Gotta give the army something to do. Because here's my question. You want to talk about nightmare fuel? So the Earth is like covered by these Starlink satellites, right? And everybody's all like, how come the feds are tiptoeing through the tulips with Elon Musk? How come they don't just take him the fuck down? Because he's got all these big ass satellites all over Earth. That what if he just decides to send them all crashing down to Earth at the same time? I wonder how many people would die unalive. So if and I wonder how does the U.S. defend from that happening? What's to keep him from just So we literally just talked about two things that like aren't real. Those aren't real life. But I do honestly think that there was so much election interference. 207 what I say? It was initially it was 80 plus and it was actually like 200 plus bomb threats. That's election interference. That's enough to annul an election and have us revote. But I don't think you can use the same system. That doesn't seem like a smart idea. Right? Cassandra said the interview with his kids with Starlink, we can quietly do whatever we want. Yeah. That was at SpaceX, though. He was saying over at SpaceX, we quietly do whatever we want. And he said something else like, they'll never know. And you're like, I wonder where he got that shit at. But anyway, the mere fact that a criminal investigation is being conducted may impact upon the adjudication of election litigation and contests in state courts. Moreover, the seizure by federal authorities of documentation generated by the election process may deprive state election and judicial authorities of critical materials needed to resolve election disputes, conduct recounts, and certify the ultimate winner. I think this is a relevant clause in the comments from me. Certify the ultimate winners. And in case you didn't know, Donald Trump ain't ultimately won shit in his goddamn life that he didn't cheat at. And here's how you fucking know, babies. Here's how you know. Okay? It says the states won't get involved, or the FBI won't get involved until states certify. So that's answers that question. Why did all this happen? Okay. So now we've been through Executive Order 13A48. We've been through prosecuting fucking election crimes. Okay. People asked me, why did Kamala Harris and Joe Biden rush to the White House yesterday? And I'm posting in the comments why I think. Okay. You don't think it's anything because you weren't on active duty. And you don't understand how when you're on active duty, or when you're the president of the United States, you gotta make some fucking decisions right fucking now, but not like right now. Like if Joe Biden was sick, and that's why Kamala Harris motorcaded to the White House yesterday, I think she would have gone faster. That's what I'm saying. And I think that this link that I just posted, okay, where it says U.S. Central Command, okay, which I need to follow because apparently I'm not following them. Okay. CENTCOM forces unalive ISIS leader during precision strike in Syria. Okay. I'm not saying something crazy without facts behind it. Because there's a lot of people that are going to say, Jared, didn't you say earlier that they went back over there to read the report? Yeah. But that happened like the night before, and maybe they needed to be briefed about that. I'm just throwing it out there where I'm like, hey, this came out about 9 a.m. yesterday. Okay. That it had happened the day before. Okay. Yep, Ryan, I've been talking about Jackie Singh exposing Artem Klyushin. Mm-hmm. Yep. But yeah, this thing about CENTCOM unaliving an ISIS leader. Okay, that happened a couple days ago. Came out yesterday morning at 9:10 a.m. I put the tweet in the chat. If you're not on Twitter, it's not my problem. Okay, not how this works. Okay, okay. We've been live for 90 minutes. There are 100 people. 100 people in here. How many we in here? 10? 110 people watching us live. Okay. So to say nothing's happened so far today, kind of silly, given what's going on. Okay. And remember, if you want to contact me, you can. Okay. This is my name. It's my Blue Sky. Okay. Okay. And then with our last few minutes here, I'll let you know people been asking for it, and I wasn't gonna. Okay. If you want to support me above and beyond, there's my Patreon. Okay. Okay. If you want to PayPal me, that's how you can PayPal me. Okay. Okay. And I know people are like, likely alien, what is that? And that has been my screen name, okay, forever. I don't use Twitter. I lurk. I'm only a lurker. So people wanting to get on Twitter and follow and I don't post on there. I lurk. I might like something every now and then. Okay. I don't want to support Elon Musk. I would tell you to not support Elon Musk. I think that's a foregone conclusion at this point. Okay. I got like 1,500 followers. It's clearly my picture. It's the same picture that you see in here. You see that in that photo and they match. There's a reason for that. Is I want to be very easy to find, be on very few websites. I'm not on LinkedIn. Don't bother me on Facebook. If you bother me on Facebook, we are never going to be friends. Do you understand me? Okay? Don't bother me on Facebook. I'm trying to let that just go. You know what I mean? I blacked out my pictures, just trying to let it go. Like an old dog. Just put it out to pasture. Okay? I also, again, like I said, I don't use Twitter. Yep, no Meta, no Facebook. Okay? You can find me. I don't even really use Blue Sky that much. So I'm not on Blue Sky like chopping it up. Because I'm not about all that. But what I will do is you'll see me live Monday through Friday at 8:30 a.m. ish to 10 a.m. ish. Also, I'll do an afternoon show. Generally speaking, after lunch. So like think like a 12:30 or 1:30 start for 90 minutes. Okay? Monday through Friday. That's 10 90-minute shows a week. Okay? On the weekends, I'll be live at least once a day. Okay? But we'll push it back an hour because what I want to do on the weekend is be around my wife more when she's around. And we are up at 4 a.m. Okay, so by the time we've been around each other for 4 or 5 hours, we're ready to not be around each other. And so it's perfect. I'll be here at 9:30 ish. Okay, for about an hour and a half. ish. And hey, if shit keeps popping off, I'll get back on here. Okay? As more things happen. Okay? I hope you enjoyed your time. It's just a quiet, it's a guy sitting here with headphones on. I'm clearly talking to multiple groups of people. I'm trying to share with you the news. It's not all it's not all what you want it to be. Everybody wants instant gratification, and I want to see, I want the firing squad, I want the Hague, and you want it now. And that's just not real. Justice doesn't look or taste or smell or sound or feel like what your perception of justice is. And that's illustrated by how many people are upset, right? People are upset at the lack of justice. And it feels like they get to do whatever they want, and there are no circumstances, there are no consequences. And I'd argue that the United Healthcare CEO just found out, my friend, that there are consequences. And so I'm going to leave you with a song today. Okay? There are almost always consequences. Okay? We're going to share a classic song that is fucking timely that you all should be listening to right now. And you should be like, I fucking love this guy. We start the show on war. So for the record, yeah, we start the show on war. War. Good God, y'all. What is it good for? Absolutely nothing. Okay? And we end the show on Eat the Rich, which is a song by Aerosmith. Okay? And so as you jam out, goodbye. I'll see you guys later.